How's it going, everybody? Charlie and Dylan here from Mad Vapes of Boone.
What's up, guys?
What's up? So today we're actually starting a new series. So we have been talking a lot about on the channel about sort of different juices and a lot of other newer stuff that we're getting in the shop. And we wanted to break things down as if you have never heard what vaping is before. And we wanted to start a new series called Vaping for Noobs. I don't know if that's going to be the real name. So if there's another name,
we're gonna go with it for now.
If there's another name, it's gonna be here.
Yes. So we were gonna try and actually break down all the different really types of devices that we carry and that you might be interested in getting if that was something you were interested in.
Well, we're gonna try and give each one about 3 pros and 3 cons and let you guys decide which device that you want to pick. You can find these devices pretty much anywhere. These are kind of the standard as far as vape devices go. So we're actually going to start off with the pod style.
And this is actually what most people have, is a little pod system like this. And it's because it's small, it's convenient, has a battery built into it. It's meant to be as simple and convenient as possible. So all you have to do with something like this is pull on it. That's all you have to do. It's pull to activate. There's no buttons, nothing like that. You charge it with a USB cord.
Put your mouth on and breathe.
That's basically all you do. It's meant to be super easy, super convenient.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't deter people.
Yeah, so 3 pros for this device are obviously it is small, it's very sleek. Most of these devices are going to easily fit in your pocket. Also, it's very, very simple to use and simple to change everything out. You have, you know, one fill on most of them. Each one's going to be a little different, but
I would even say it's probably among the more cost-effective options.
Yeah.
If you're just looking for an alternative to cigarettes, something like this, you don't have to go through very much e-liquid, and so it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to upkeep this.
So some of the downsides is you're probably not going to get a whole lot of battery life out of something like this, as opposed to the other devices. You're also probably not going to get a lot of vapor production.
Yeah.
They're meant to get your nicotine and get out. And another con for some of these devices is they can have technical malfunctions. Like if something goes wrong with this device, you can't just buy a new part for it. You've got to replace the whole thing.
Yeah.
So they are on the cheaper side. If something breaks, you're done for, pretty much. That's how that's going to work. And now, perfect segue, swipe. So now, we're going to go over our internal battery devices. And we have 2 different internal battery devices. So Dylan, quickly tell us the difference between the Wismec Active, which we have here, and something like the Print Stick.
With both of these devices, just to kind of define what we mean by internal battery, it means the battery itself is built into the device. You don't have to stick a battery inside the device for it to work. So it's already built in there. But with something like this, you'll notice there's this tank on it. It looks a little bit larger. It's definitely a little bit heavier. And what you're going to be getting with these types of devices is a lot more vapor, a lot more power going through it, which means more flavor. And it also means that you're probably not going to put something like salt nicotine into it, but you could go lower on the nicotine scale and still get a satisfying hit because it's hitting a little bit harder. And then with the Wismec Active, it's the same kind of deal where it's built into the device, the battery. But with something like this, it's called a variable wattage device. So you can actually change the amount of power that's going through this device to kind of customize the hit to your liking. And different coils require a different wattage or a different recommended wattage. And so with this, you have a little bit more flexibility because you can adjust the power going through it to match either the coil settings or your own personal preferences.
So some of the pros for these devices are, of course, we talked about future ability. These are upgradable. These tanks do just come right off and they will fit onto everything. Another great one of these devices are if you're looking for more vapor production, these are normally on the cheaper side, a little more cost effective. They're not going to be as inexpensive as something like the Novo, but they're not going to be as expensive as the brand new Drag 2s. So they kind of sit there in the middle. Also, another con is you don't really have to mess around with batteries or anything like that. It's all in the device. They're very, very simple. A little more complex than something like the Novo, but very easy to understand and very easy after probably 20 minutes of playing with it, maybe even 10 minutes of playing with the device. You've probably got these down. But tell us about some of the cons to an internal battery device as opposed to some of the other ones.
So one of the most prominent ones for me, and one of the reasons that I prefer external battery devices, is that anything that has an internal battery has a shelf life to it. So batteries don't last forever. They do not have an immortal lifespan. They will die out eventually, and there's a lot of things that can actually speed up that process as well. And a year and a half goes by and you're still liking it, but the battery dies out. Now there's nothing you can really do about that. You would have to get a new device.
Yeah, if you're thinking of these devices as a stepping stone to something like the Drag 2 or any other mod, like these would be a great option.
And another thing is that there's some limitations that are typically on internal battery devices as far as the amount of power they can actually output. With the Wismic Active and the print stick, you're not really going to be getting over 100 watts with these things.
For example, my coil runs at 110 watts, which would not be anywhere close to these devices. I would not be able to get a lot of vapor production with my coil style in these devices. Those are some of the pros and cons of our internal battery devices. And another cool transition. Dissolve. This one's gonna dissolve. We're dissolving, and now we're back. That was wonderful, wasn't it? Now we're gonna talk about the last thing on our list. It is the external battery device. So when we talk about external battery devices, it means the batteries can come out, and you can replace the batteries. In something like my Snow Wolf, you see I have these old crusty batteries in there, and if I wanted to put new shiny batteries, I can do that. One of the pros to using something like this, because we're going to move straight into it. So one of the pros to using something like this is if your batteries were to die in, say, one of these devices, you've got to sit there and wait for them to charge up. With an external battery device, you can just rip out the batteries and throw in some new ones.
Maybe not rip out the batteries.
Slowly take them out and put them back on your external battery charger.
If you're wondering why his batteries look like garbage, that's why. We're talking about the pros of an external battery device. So as Charlie mentioned, right, if the batteries are low on charge, you can always take them out and put in a new set. So a lot of experienced vapors will actually have multiple sets of batteries with an external battery charger, so that they're able to have fully charged batteries in their device at all times. That's a huge plus.
Something like this. So something like this is a 6-bay battery charger. So with this, we keep this here at the shop so that all of us can have batteries charging
at all times.
But that also can be kind of a con for one of these. There are extra things you need to buy when you buy.
A little bit more of a cost associated.
When you buy this print stick, you're walking out of the store with a working device. When you buy one of these, you also need to get batteries, possibly a battery charger, and depending on some, you might even need a tank to go with it.
Batteries for it, obviously, and like Charlie was saying, there is a cost associated with that.
You're also going to get a lot more battery life out of something like this. So in my device right now, I have two 3,000 mAh batteries. So one of my batteries is more battery than one of these. That's one way to say that. So it's going to work for a lot longer time. You're not going to need to charge it as much. Those are some of the pros, and a couple more cons. It's going to be more expensive.
It's going to be more expensive. It's also more bulky. So that's something that really, if you're looking for an alternative to cigarettes and you don't want something big and bulky, that's why most people have something like a Novo as opposed to this big box mod here. Right, so it's definitely going to be a little bit more carrying it around. You have to be a little bit more careful with it because it does have some parts to it, especially the glass. That's something that's going to happen at least once if you get a tank. Is if the glass is on, it's going to break at least once, and that's a fairly cheap fix to make happen. So that's not a huge downside, but definitely if anything you have a tank on, you have the opportunity or potential to crack in it. Or you have coils that go into it, so you have to actually change the coils out. That's another potential con. It's a little bit more tedious, if you will. You don't just have this pod that you can take out and put a new one in and then you're ready to go. And so, while external battery devices might have some cons, like an increased cost up front because you got to pay for batteries and the whole setup, what you're really paying for is the longevity of the device. So this device, for example, would last me many years, 2 to 3 years, right? I guess that's a few years.
A few years.
But it's not
going to die in, say, 6 months.
Yeah, and the only thing I have to replace is the batteries themselves every 6 to 12 months, depending on how long they last, and how often I take care of them. Which
but those are kind of the cons for the device. So we're just kind of break it down. Is if you're looking to get off cigarettes and you just want that hit, those salt-based devices are going to be great for you. They're internal battery, they're easy to take care of, and that's what you should be looking at. And for
the internal battery devices, I think it's more for the convenience, right?
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily getting as much power as an external battery device, but what you're really paying for is the convenience of it, not having to change out batteries, being able to just plug it in when you want to. It's probably ideal for someone that's maybe vaping a decent amount, but maybe not all the time.
And also, you can use that as a stepping stone. Say,
Exactly.
getting the Prince sticks. Those are great for people that are just getting into vaping and don't want to spend a whole lot of money up front, but their device will still be useful in the future. They can take that tank off, or they can reuse certain parts of the device. And of course, if you've been vaping for a while and you kind of know what you're looking for, or you just want that extra battery life and you want that extra hit, external battery devices are the way to go for those people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but thank you guys so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell so you know when we get all of our cool videos. You'll be the first one to see it.
And don't forget to subscribe to our Instagram page as well as our Facebook page, because we do post our deals daily.
Thank you guys for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Is that what we're doing now?
That's been my thing. I figure they'll get confused if I do something different.
So what's my thing? Just stare blankly into the camera?